and welcome back to my kitchen. We have a new setup today. I am really excited because now we'll actually be able to see what I'm doing as well as me. I'm not narcissistic, but it's just nice to not be like choosing between a boob shot or a face shot, you know? I'm going to be attempting French macarons. Now, my track record is not great, I'm not gonna lie. I think I am 4 for 11, meaning 4 of my recipes out of 11 attempts have actually turned out, and even those, kind of iffy. So I have been watching some videos, and I have found that Tasty actually has produced the best macaron walkthrough that I've ever found. And I'm going to be trying to make them today because I am hosting a tea party shower for my friend, and you can't have a tea party without macarons. So I've washed my hands and I've prepared, so let's get started. In front of me I have my food processor, and I have pre-mixed all of my ingredients. I have measured them by weight because macarons are super finicky. We're just going to be doing a classic vanilla macaron because in the past when I've tried to alter the recipe too much, that's when I've come into the most problems. So until I can master the basics, I'm not going to try to fancy it up. So I am going to add in my almond flour. If you make a mess, that's okay, you can clean. And I have, sorry, I'm looking at my recipe to make sure that I'm sticking to it. So that was 95 grams. And then I have 210 grams of powdered sugar. Now food processing them together just helps it to get really fine, mixed and not clumpy. I don't have a big food processor, so this is just like pretty much my maximum capacity. Powdered sugar, almond flour. And I have a half a teaspoon of salt. Hopefully my voice is loud enough without my mic. We'll see. We'll see what I can do in post. Alright, now I'm going to pulse these together just until they are fine and combined. Set this aside, and I have a large bowl with a fine mesh sieve that you're going to pour it into. I don't know what my daughter's doing. She's supposed to be napping, but sounds like she's just playing. That's okay. His quiet time is okay too. Oh, the goodness. I'm going to put that in my sink. Set aside my processor because I'm not going to need that for right now. And just gonna spend a few minutes just doing this, so cue the speed montage. Alright, that is all sifted together real nice. So now we're going to do the KitchenAid. I'm gonna bring it onto the island now that I have room, and we will walk through that. So just give me 1 minute to reconfigure. We will be right back. Hello, from the future, editing Danielle here. So obviously without a mic, I have to do voiceover, so this is fun. So I have my egg whites whipping up. They are aged egg whites, which means that I had separated them from the yolks a couple days in advance and let them chill in the fridge. Apparently this helps them to make better macarons. So I've added a little bit of salt just to help them. Did a little dance. Now here I am adding a little bit of sugar, a little bit at a time. I am saying a little, a lot. I am sorry, but you know, you're just gonna gradually add it to get nice, thick, glossy, stiff peaks. I'll have to put the recipe down below because I can't remember how much sugar it is anymore. So, yeah, we'll put it in the description box. Sounds good. Okay. I have some nice stiff peaks here, but one way to know for sure she said that if they are truly stiff peaks, you should be able to hold it upside down and nothing will come out. It's a lot of trust I just did there. So now I'm gonna add in my vanilla and a little bit of pink food coloring because pink is pretty. Okay, we're gonna try to do an overhead shot here-ish. I don't have a proper setup, but I have my nice pink meringue. And now we are gonna sift in 1/3 of our almond flour mixture at a time. So I have my sifter again. The tasty didn't say to do this, but another one said to, and it just makes sure that there's just no clumps, which is good. So we're gonna do, the macaronage process, as they call it. This is where it gets dicey, because if you undermix, they won't rise. If you overmix, they also won't rise. You have to get it just right. So, let's see how this goes. Saw that at the end, but I raised my spatula up and I tried to draw a figure 8 in the batter because that's a way for you to know if it's done. If you can make a figure 8 without it breaking and do the entire 8, stop. It should be a little bit shiny, it should be smooth at this point, and I'm not going to mix it anymore. I'm not going to touch it. So I am now going to transfer my batter into a bag. And I'll just explain, beside me I have my silicone mat on my baking tray that I printed off a template of like circle sizes because I'm wanting kind of small cookies because of it being for a tea party. There's going to be lots of other things going on. We will just have to see how this turns out. Yeah, we'll see. Yes, but you know what? Life is full of happy accidents. Name that quote. I have another hack for you. If you don't have a silicone mat, you can use parchment paper. Parchment, not wax, just so you know. And you don't want it to flutter around at all in your oven, so just put a dot of dough under the 4 corners, and that will keep your parchment in place. And we'll just continue making our shells. Now for a very important step. Warning, if you are in headphones, this will be a little loud. You need to take your tray and you need to bang it about 4 to 5 times just to get all the air bubbles out. And now we leave them for, they say half hour, but you need to wait until they are completely smooth to the touch. This is called forming a skin, and it is very important for them to get a foot, which is how they rise. So we will be checking in about half hour, and we'll see if they have a skin yet. So these are now dry to the touch. I am now setting my temperature to 300, and we will be putting them in soon. Fingers crossed. I might have left them a little longer because I went out and did some errands, but we'll see if they work. So attempt number 1 failed, so 4 for 12. I have a second batch on. I'm hoping it'll be better. I think I let them rest for too long and it caused it to not rise because it was too hard of a shell. So I have a second batch here. I'm just going to show you them quickly and hopefully they work. Because they're just about dry, these ones. I can just about touch them without any transfer. Yeah, 300. 17 minutes. Let's try it again. A little ruffle. Those are feet. Some of them turned out really good, some kind of cracked, but that's okay. Gotta let them rest for just a couple minutes before I transfer them to a wire rack. So I have one batch done, next batch in the oven, and I'm gonna transfer these to a wire rack. They say you'll know they're done if they come off cleanly, which some of these are, and they'll have a nice shell, nice little ribbon of a foot. These are so pretty. I'm glad I tried again. I had originally told my husband that if the first batch failed, I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm kind of okay with, that one kind of didn't come off clean. I'm kind of okay with this. You can see that, like, before this one cracked from me opening it, like, it was nice and smooth. And it has that little bit of a chew. Kind of came a little hollow. I'm curious to know what the other ones will be like, but not mad at it. Okay, I have my shells. I've decided I want to fill them with strawberry, so I'm gonna have to finish this tomorrow, so I will make sure to, I don't know, insert fun transition here. See you tomorrow. So here we are on day 2 of our macarons. I've decided to make them strawberries and cream. So in advance I made some strawberry sauce, cut up my half a pint of strawberries and boiled them with water and sugar and just let them kind of reduce and then cool. And then I just have my vanilla buttercream. If you haven't made it before, I've made it in a couple other recipes. You can just go to any of my other ones that I make cupcakes. So I have lined up my cookies according to size. In an ideal world, they're all the same size, but because of inconsistency with piping and just, you know, they're not. So I did my best. Now these ones, like, they're still not ideal, but I'll get enough to use, and then the others I'm just gonna keep. So I'll make a well, and then I'm gonna fill it with the strawberry. Now, also in an ideal world, this would have been cream cheese icing, but unfortunately, I forgot to buy cream cheese, and I'm not going back to the store. So, scoop. We'll just place our tops on. So here is my army of strawberries and cream macarons. They are not perfect. You can see some of the spots where they're like very see-through because I lost some of the shell. So we're just gonna pick the prettiest ones to bring. But I don't think they turned out too bad. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing my semi-failures. I'm glad I did try again because the second batch just turned out so much better. If you've made it this far, please give me a like, share, hit subscribe, and we should see you, well, at this point, every other week. So, until next time, mwah! So these are the over-dried ones that just crisp. But also, since my shells were thin in some spots, we had a bit of an accident. They bled through.